And welcome to everyone. Today our guest is Kate Richardson. Kate, congrats on an impressive performance, first of all. I mean, you fought, I can't say a Bellator vet. I mean, Strauss is a very, very tough competitor, very tough fighter. You scored a victory. So how are you feeling considering that you defeated very, very dangerous fighter in your last outing? How were you preparing for the fight? Can you please tell us a bit more details? By the way, thank you for participating.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, Daniel Strauss is a two-time world champ, so it was probably the biggest victory of my career so far. I feel great. The fight couldn't have went any better. I think it was it went to right exactly according to game plan, but even I was kind of shocked with how great the game plan worked. I've been a little bit inactive lately, and it wasn't because I wasn't working. I think everybody saw that I've been working hard. I went through about 4 or 5 fight camps where fights just fell through, due to COVID or whatnot. So it was just, I've been in the gym grinding and working, and I think everybody saw the fruits of my labor.
Many people claim that you pulled out a huge upset. Do you agree or disagree? Can you please tell us a bit more about your training camps, your road to the victory? Because I've seen that you were working very, very hard. I mean, it's never easy against the Bellator champ.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. I think most people didn't see me winning that fight, and definitely didn't see me winning that fight the way that I did. But most people don't know what I'm truly capable of, and I think I finally really got to showcase what I can do when I'm at the top of my game. My training camp, I've got tons of great guys at the gym. I only had about 3 weeks notice for this fight, but at this point in my career, short training camps aren't necessarily a bad thing. I'm kind of a habitual overtrainer, so sometimes if the training camp's 10 weeks, by the time I actually get to the fight, I'm all beat up, and I got nagging little injuries and stuff like that. So the short camps, because I'm always in fight shape anyway. So really, I just need 3 or 4 weeks to get my game plan together, and just make sure that my weight cuts goes perfectly.
How hard it is to accept the fight on a short notice? Does it change your game plan significantly?
For me, no. I'd say a lot of fighters, it throws them off, but for me, no. I fought Tony Gravely on 2 days' notice. And dropped him twice. And I felt his arm pop at one point. So I'm always not far from fight shape. I run my own gym, and I'm one of those leaders that if I'm making them do it, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it harder and more, because I'm gonna lead from the front. So I'm always training hard.
When did you start training MMA, and which was your first martial art?
I started out as a wrestler when I was a state champ wrestler in high school. Then I went into the Marine Corps and served some tours in Iraq. And when I got home, I started doing MMA to deal with PTSD. And I fell in love with the sport. It really kind of changed my life. I always, since the moment I started training, I knew I was training to fight. It just seemed like it was, the sport was built for me. And I haven't, since day one when I started training for MMA, I haven't stopped. It's almost been every single day since. I can't tell you the last time I've taken 2 days off in a row or something like that.
So you said you have your own gym. Do you have sparring partners and coaches, or you're preparing everything for yourself, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got assistant coaches that, when it's time for me to fight and stuff like that, they step up and, kind of help coach me. I've got plenty of great sparring partners. I've got a great relationship with a lot of other gyms in the area. So, we've always had a really good relationship with Team Hayastan that's not far from us. So they come down and work with us. We come down and work with them. I've got plenty of great up and comers at the gym. I got we've been training with the number 3 female bare knuckle boxer in the world, Taylor Starling. So we've got a ton of talent that that's in this gym, and also like in relation to us by like other gyms that we've got a great relationship with. That's one thing that the fight scene out by us is getting really good at doing, is cross training and making sure that the fighters out of the Carolinas are doing big things because we're working together to get better and taking on the rest of the world.
Can you please elaborate the meaning of your tattoos?
Got a couple. I've got this was one of my early ones. It's a leprechaun with I got it after I won my first amateur title, so it's got a title belt, but it says mom because my mom, her requirement for me to get a tattoo was it had to say mom on it somewhere. I've got some Marine Corps tattoos on my shin. I got a Kings of Ramadi, and then it says 3 Bravo. That was one of the units that I was with when we were in Ramadi. And then I've got my 3/8 my 3/8 tattoo. I've got one of my fallen brothers' dog tags on my ribs. It says Modern War, and it says Modern Warrior around it. That was one of the inspirations for like how I love to run the gym, and like the name of the gym, Modern Warrior, on my ribs. And then I got eagle on my shoulder. It's kind of like the Harley Davidson symbol, but it says For My Fallen Brothers. But my dad has a very similar tattoo, so that was the reason why I wanted to get that one. And then I got a dragon on my other shoulder, and I actually got that one, I think, when I was drunk.
Do you have the favorite strike and the favorite submission, and how would you describe your fighting style?
Yeah. I use the old cliche, like my favorite strike is the one that knocks the guy out. I will say there is nothing more satisfying than kicking somebody, kicking somebody in the head. Except if you catch it on the foot, top of the foot, it's gonna hurt your foot for a little while. My foot's still a little sore from kicking Daniel. My favorite submission, it's hard to choose, but I'd probably say I like to run this little backside triangle that I call the rock star. Almost pulled it off in a fight before. I've got that, and I like got a nasty little Kimura series that I work, north-south choke that I work. I've got a lot of dirty little tricks that I like to pull out when we're on the ground.
You mentioned Rockstar. Can you please elaborate that meaning? Is this your nickname, right?
Yeah, that's my fight name. I got it after my first amateur fight, where some girl in the crowd came up and asked me to sign her chest. So it just kind of stuck after that. Plus, like, a roadie for a band. I've always been like really big into music, so it just kind of stuck after that, and it's just been a good time since.
So how were you feeling heading into your first amateur fight? You mentioned it on a few occasions. Must have been a big step up in the career, right?
Yeah, like it was the moment that I knew I was doing the right thing, like as far as my life. Like I remember when I first, like, for my first fight, I wasn't even really nervous. Like, I was like, I've already been through war. So this is just another battle that I've got to fight. And like, I just felt at home in the cage, and it's just been great doing it ever since.
Can you please describe the difference between your first amateur fight and your professional debut? I guess professional debut is always harder in the career of every fighter, right?
Um, Actually, I think the fights were actually pretty similar. Like my first pro fight, but I was fighting like I traveled for, and I fought in a different state, and like I was fighting a guy that was a hometown, from that area. He's a hometown guy. So it was the first time. Like the real difference was this was the first time I was ever like the villain. Because I always used to get like a lot of support, like whenever I fought locally. So that was different. Like I remember after I won, there was just nothing but silence. I just felt like the crowd was getting ready to turn on me real quick.
Looking back at your record, people usually judge wrongly about the fighters, but when we take a look at your records, you were fighting, well, I dare to say you were fighting the best names of the division. Landwehr is in the UFC, Gravel is in the UFC, Strauss was a former Bellator champ, Pechi Mix is a Bellator name also. Can you please name three hardest fights for you in your whole career and why were they the hardest?
Okay. For number one, I probably have to go with Charles Rosa. Um, I was supposed to be fighting at 35, but my opponent pulled out, and he was ready. I think we wound up meeting at a catch weight of like 150. So like it was a big step up in weight. He hadn't when we fought, he hadn't even been out of the first round yet in his pro career. And it was just it was a great fight. Like me and him are actually friends now. Like we talk all the time. Like we got after it, and it was a great fight. Now at one point I thought he went to sleep because I had his back and I had the rear naked sunk in, and I think he can breathe out his butt or something like that because he wound up getting out and scrambling. And then I think it wound up being like a TKO finish, but I think it was stopped way too early. Like we were having a good scrap, but it was still a great fight. Like I had fun in the fight. He's a super nice guy. Like me and him still talk all the time. But it was just like we went to war on the fight. Um, Probably number two would be one of my favorite fights was when I fought Rodrigo Lima from Bellator. That was a big win for me. Because I submitted him. And he was he was doing well in Bellator at the time. Highly touted BJJ black belt. So it was a big win. It was a real nice scrap back and forth a little bit. But then, like in the second round, I really started taking over the fight. Probably should have been stopped in the second, but wound up getting the finish in the third. And it was nice to get the submission win on that one. I probably for the third fight, I'd probably say when I fought Matt Bissett in Bellator, because that fight, once again, super nice dude. Me and him still talk all the time. Sorry about that. It's on it. But me and him still talk all the time.
He was
That
my
one,
guest too, just to say, great guy. Please continue.
yeah, yeah. He that one was kind of unfinished. We were having a good fight. I won the first round. He was coming back strong in the second, and wound up getting cut. And then he accidentally poked me in the eye. Didn't try to cheap shot me or anything. Like as soon as he did, like he knew it was a bad poke, backed off. And then the doctor demanded to come in, and he called off the fight, and it wound up getting ruled a win for him. So like, we were getting after it, and like I would say because that fight has always been unfinished.
I watched that fight and I didn't understand why the rule gave victory to him, because to me it should have been a no contest. But I don't know, maybe rules are different. But in
I
UFC it's a no contest as much as I know. If the rules haven't changed, I really don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, like I don't know why it got ruled that way. We tried to overturn it. It like even John McCarthy, the ref, he said he wasn't trying to bring the doctor in. He said I wasn't pawing at it. It wasn't hindering me. The fight was still going on. It was going well. It was just really weird how that all went down. And for some reason we couldn't get the footage for the fight. So when we tried to appeal it, it just didn't work out. Plus trying to get any athletic commission to admit that there was a mistake is not an easy task.
Yeah, I
So
know. There were one very controversial match. I don't know whether you watched it, Juan Espino versus Alexander Romanov. I think they gave victory to Romanov. I think Espino not kicked him to the nuts in round 3, but I'm not sure. It was unintentional foul, but Romanov was unable to continue. And he
yeah.
tried to get up, but the doctor said, no, you are not going to continue. And then they gave victory to Romanov. But I don't know why. Maybe it was round 3. I don't know why. But Romanov insisted to continue. And they didn't let him. So I don't know. Maybe there is some rule we don't know, I guess.
I don't know. I think it's more likely like a bad call, but at least now we're starting to allow video replay.
Yeah,
So
I guess. Yeah. So, do you have some plans for the future right now? I mean, all right, this current promotion is pretty much good. I mean, I am very good with MMA hosts. I'm partnered with them. We are very good. So they aired the event. I rewatched, and prior to the fight, I just had a bad feeling about this fight because literally everybody in the chat were like, "Strauss gonna win. Strauss gonna win." I was like, when I watched your record, when I've seen you survived against Charles Rosa, it was too inspirational because he fought Darek Mina and Darek Mina was unable to finish him. So I said, "There's no way Strauss gonna finish this guy."
yeah, um, yeah. As far as the future, I'm working on that right now. I want to get back in the cage, as soon as possible. Like I like to be active. Like that little inactive part of my career, like lately, was killing me. I had like 5 fights fall through. I was supposed to fight Scoggins twice. I was supposed to, it was just like I'm a fighter. I like to fight, so I'm gonna figure out what the next step is. I'd love to fight for like XMMA. They put on a great show. Like outside of Bellator and the UFC, like you're really not gonna find a better card than the last one that they put on. But I would also wouldn't mind stepping in, the UFC cage, Bellator cage, PFL, whoever gets me a good tough fight, and is willing to pay me for it. I'm ready to go.
Does it rock the fighter mentally when you think, okay, the fight gonna happen, and 2 days before the fight, the opponent pulls out? So it happened to you many times. How do you feel when that happens?
I've always called it MMA blue balls because it's a lot of tension building up and then no release. Like, a fight camp is so hard. Like, it is way harder than the actual fight. But, you get to, all the weight cutting, all the training, all the personal stuff that goes on during the fight camp. Like, it's just a lot of work, a lot of stress, a lot of buildup, and it all comes together for that one moment. And when that moment doesn't happen, it just it literally rocks your foundation, and it just you just never get that release. The whole buildup, you're supposed to release it on your opponent. And when it doesn't happen, it just it just feels like blue balls.
One of fighters told me, listen, if you fight 100% in the training, if you train 100%, you can't give more than 30% on the day of your, for example, ex-MMA, Bellator, UFC fight. Do you consider it true or not?
I tend to disagree a little bit. I do agree that, like, you've got to watch, you've got to train smartly. You've got to know when to back it off and when to turn it up. But at the same time, like, like I always tell, like, my fighters and stuff like that, you are never going to fight at 100%, but you have to give 100% of what you have that day. That's the 100% that counts. Like, nobody is, like, it is almost impossible to fight at 100%. Doesn't matter what's going on. You can catch a cold. You can stub your toe. There's always going to be a couple of little things that are going to keep you from being at 100% every time. Like, I've got over 30 professional fights. Yeah, this last fight might have been the closest that I fought to 100%, but it still wasn't 100%. I still had all kinds of nagging little pains or this and that. But regardless of that, when I step into that cage, I'm giving 100%. And I think that's the 100% that matters.
Very much inspirational message. Would you like to add something to this interview? Is there something we forgot to mention? Would you like to give a shout out to somebody maybe?
I always got to give a shout out to the guys and girls over at my gym. I got one of the, like, when I started my gym, like, one of the things that I missed about, like, being in the Marines was just the brotherhood and camaraderie, and that is one thing that we've always pushed in this gym. Like, we're definitely a family. Like, we go out together. We anybody that's got a problem and stuff like that, we take care of it as a group. Like, whether it's breaking up with your girlfriend or you can't pay your rent or something like that, like, we'll help each other out. And that's always been really important to me. I just after my fight, I dedicated it to a really good friend of mine that I lost a couple of months ago, and his family. My buddy Brian Baker, like, he was one of my sponsors my whole fight career. When I started training MMA, like, he was already, like, one of the black belts of the gym. So, like, and he's just always been a second father to me, and just a great person to have in my life. And it's it's rough not having him in my life anymore. So I definitely had to dedicate this fight to him and his family.
Thank you so much for this interview. I put it to creation now. Hope in few hours gonna be up. I will send you video when it's up. And thank you so much. Wish you luck in your career. I hope we're gonna see some big promotion soon. I mean, you did a great step up, got to say.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a great day, kid.
You too. Nice talking to you.